I'll throw out a few pros and I'll also throw out a few cons of the expansion. So, like to your point, Jeremy, you mentioned more money. So yeah, more revenue for the NCAA, so they could possibly, over time share that with different schools and stuff. Um, or it may just go to their pockets, who knows? But again, a couple pros that could potentially be one. To your point, again, Auburn and other teams are on the bubble, so now you have more deserving teams that get a shot. Strong conferences, it's a crapshoot every year, right? So, but like for example, like SEC is generally in the past 3 to 4 or 5 years, maybe longer. SEC has been very strong, from top to not bottom, but like top to mid at least. And so like those strong conferences, SEC, whoever, right? You're now wouldn't leave out some quality teams that should be there, right? Um, Kind of touching on the revenue again. Um, you know, you have higher TV rights revenue, but again, that's not going to the teams really. More ticket sales, which could possibly be shared with the teams, advertising opportunities, and increased sponsorship value. So, you know, again, generating more money for the NCAA, not necessarily the schools. Um, Possibly increased fan engagement. And now you're looking at, well, Auburn or whoever, right? So you have teams and fans that would be willing to travel. Um, but you also, on the other hand, with sports betting being as popular as it is now and accepted, you have possibly more betting interest, right? Um, Potentially more bracket participation. So, and possibly more national attention. You have like a few, schools, programs that make it that maybe not would have made it, without the expansion. So that could possibly happen. So again, just a few, and there's more pros to it. A few cons. And Jeremy, you and I touched on this a few minutes ago, but ultimately it comes down to the regular season. Just it matters less. There's nothing to play for, you know, and the quote unquote win or go home urgency decreases because if you win in the playing games, you still, you still go, and which is fine, or still advance. And it just, you could be mediocre in your conference tournament and still somehow make the tournament, so that would definitely be a con. And then one or two more to here to touch on real quick. You have the additional playing rounds, of course. I think we looked at it and it was going to be 3 playing rounds that Tuesday and 3 playing rounds the Wednesday, and then the actual tournament starts Thursday. You combine that with the more strain on athletes and their academic schedules. And so you're looking at the athletes themselves, like we're just not talking about the NIL stuff, but like they still have to pass their classes, right? And so the travel demand and all that, and yeah, there's ways around it and stuff, but that just adds one more thing that they have to worry about. So again, some pros and cons. I think ultimately, you know, it'll work itself out, but I think for right now there's going to be a lot of pushback, and those are some of the pushbacks.
Yeah, like I said, in the end, we may get to it. It adds an extra day because of that play-in round. Again,